Bereshit that we are in the middle of reading at the moment is not just a book of stories about our ancestors, but it is about the creation of the Jewish DNA. It's stories that really speak to the core of who we are as a nation. And Parashat Toldot is no different. In Parashat Toldot we read of Isaac and Rebekah, Yitzchak and Rivka, and their two children, Yaakov and Esav. And Yaakov and Esav famously pull in very, very different directions. Whereas Yaakov seems to be pushing towards a spiritual life, towards a religious life, Esav is very much pushing in the other direction. Esav is someone who is fulfilling his momentary desires in a very, very negative and base way, and seems to be the antithesis of everything that we believe in. When it comes time to pass on to the next generation, famously Yitzchak wants to give some of the blessings to Esav, and of course Rivka disagrees, and there is the whole episode where Jacob dresses up like Esav, like his brother, puts on goat skin onto his hands so that his hands feel harsher, feel more hairy than his would otherwise, specifically to try and trick his father into giving him the blessing. And when he comes into that room, as I said, it's not just a story about a son coming to be blessed by his father, but there is almost a seminal moment in Jewish history that takes place in that room, that takes place through the blessings that Isaac bequeaths to Jacob, to Yaakov, his son. In that encounter, Yitzchak utters a very, very profound line. He says to Yaakov as he draws near, Hakol kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, V'hayadayim yedei Esav, but your hands feel like the hands of Esav. He was confused. Are you Yaakov? Are you Esav? You sound like one, but you feel like another. Which one are you? And the various commentators actually say that this is not just simply Yitzchak being confused as to who was standing in front of him, but this also speaks to the very, very essence of who we are. That we are a people who focus not on our hands, not on material things that we can touch and that we have in this world, but on our voice, on the voice, the power of the voice. The power of the voice is something that we hold dear within Judaism. The hands are things which are there to be physical. To wage war with our hands is not the Jewish way. But sometimes we do have to go to battle. Sometimes we do have to convince people, and we convince people with our voice. And we do so with the voice, with the kol, that is the kol of Yaakov, the voice that is within us. I particularly have been thinking about this week as we continue to mourn Lord Sachs, we continue to learn so much from him and think about him so much. And his was such a distinct voice, not just his actual voice, which is also very, very distinct and beautiful to listen to, but also that distinct voice, one which really the world hadn't ever heard before, one which seemed to inspire so many millions across the world. And that voice, that power, he wielded so much influence with that incredible voice. And we too are able to wield a certain influence, to be able to create wealth, to be able to bring people closer together, to be able to increase the love and the relationships and all the positive energy that we can bring into this world. So much of that can be done with our voice, with our study of Torah, with our prayers, with our tefillah. So much power within the Jewish voice. In addition to recognizing that the voice is at our core, I also wanted to spend a couple of moments thinking about another type of voice. Because of course this Shabbat is Jewish Women's Aid Shabbat. And Jewish Women's Aid is an organization that we wholeheartedly support. And it's an organization that really does give a voice to victims who perhaps otherwise wouldn't have one. JWA is the only specialist organization in the UK that offers support and advice to women and children who have been affected by domestic abuse. And ultimately JWA offers a voice to some of our most vulnerable. When we talk about domestic abuse, I think one of the key things that we need to recognize is that we must never ever believe that it can't happen here, that it cannot happen close to me, that it can't happen to anyone that I know or within my community. Unfortunately, it can and it does. And it's organizations like JWA, first and foremost JWA, which, as I said, which give the voice to those people, which empower them to be able to come out of those situations, to be able to move on from those situations, to be able to escape sometimes those situations, all sorts of things. That support is invaluable, and the support that we give them by raising the awareness and by becoming involved in all sorts of ways, volunteering and generally giving our support to JWA, we hope will also be invaluable. And in that sense, we lend our voice to the support of this fantastic organization. May we all merit to tap in to the Kol Yaakov, the power of that voice, the power of Torah, the power of Tefillah, the power to create worlds with our words, and the power to be able to tap in to something which goes back so many thousands of years. I wish us all a Shabbat Shalom.